Alrighty, so friend of the Voice of College Football Network from sportingnews.com, Bill Bender has cranked up some title scenarios for each of these four teams: Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss. But we're the lucky ones, luckily. So we've win and you're in, or basically win and you've got a chance. But we'll explain why in just a moment. Because seen here are the get out. We don't care about Dodge right now. We don't care about Dodge. We got important business. Okay, bye bye, minority players. We'll see you later. And we've got these four teams: Texas A&M, Georgia, Alabama, and Ole Miss. And as stated here are the tiebreaker rules. Step one, head-to-head competition. That's the easiest tiebreaker. Did Team A beat Team B? Step two, record versus all common conference opponents. Step three, record against highest/best place common conference opponent in the conference standings and proceeding through the conference standings among the tied teams. Step four, cumulative conference winning percentages of all conference opponents among tied teams. Step five, capped relative total scoring margin versus all conference opponents among the tied teams. Step six, random draw. So we've got Texas A&M. They've got the easiest. So like nobody basically has, nobody can really clinch anything until rivalry week, because once again, this week being Cupcake Week, Texas A&M has the easiest path: win and you're in. But if they lose to Texas, well, they're in serious jeopardy. The Georgia Bulldogs are crossing their fingers, hoping that Texas A&M can beat Texas, because if Texas upsets Texas A&M on Black Friday, then Georgia's in trouble. But they've got that head-to-head win over Ole Miss, but the problem is we've got the head-to-head over them, which that's a good thing. We've got that head-to-head. But here's where we come in. We lost to Oklahoma on Saturday, which decreases the margin for error in the SEC race. Alabama's got the head-to-head win over Georgia, but Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss all have comparable cumulative conference winning percentages and no common opponent. So the one year where you're not playing Alabama, Ole Miss, that's where we're in real big trouble, unfortunately. A three-way tie for second place to be close, but there's bright side. We've got the advantage. And Ole Miss has a stronger conference winning percentage than Texas A&M. And the only common opponents A&M, Georgia, and Ole Miss share are Florida and Mississippi State. But, just kind of like looking back at it, I'm really thinking about these scenarios, right? We basically need to be beating Auburn on the 29th on ABC with Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and the puppy dog calling the game.
Yeah, and they really just need to handle their business in front of them. They controlled their own destiny coming in Saturday, and that took a big shot when they lost to Oklahoma. So now they pretty much need to beat Auburn, and they might need to put some style points on the board. Win by multiple scores, but getting the win is the biggest overall. But you see all this madness going on within these different scenarios within the conference, and that just circles back to just this super conference that the SEC has, kind of put together, just with all 16 teams and just these different scenarios. And then I also saw some different scenarios, just on Twitter, just looking just throughout these last couple of days. And they were even saying that some other factors that could affect Alabama Alabama's title game chances for the SEC. They like any combo of these two teams uh, win would affect Alabama, and these teams I'm talking about is Kentucky when they play Vanderbilt, Arkansas when they play Texas, and Florida when they play Tennessee. If any two of those three teams uh, beat their opponent, with like I said, Kentucky playing Vanderbilt, Arkansas playing Texas, and Florida playing Tennessee. If any of those two teams win, that would kind of that would be a conflict for Alabama chances because of the strength of schedule and winning percentage within the conference. So, you know, just
So
Saturday.
what I'm hearing is we need to just cross our fingers for Tennessee to win in Gainesville for the first time since 2003 against the Florida Gators, right?
Yeah, man, but it's they,
Oh,
like control their own destiny. Now they certain things need to happen, certain things don't need to happen. It's just real confusing. Like now you're looking at games from teams that they didn't even play. They didn't play either of these teams. They didn't play Kentucky. They didn't play Texas. I mean, they didn't play Arkansas. They didn't play Florida. But they these lesser um to not lose. So they need Vanderbilt to beat Kentucky. They need Texas to
come
beat.
on, Vanderbilt. Smack the stuffing out of Kentucky.
Yeah, they should, man. Because they're also I think they're number 12 in the latest ranking. So they're also trying to fight their way for the playoffs. But it's real interesting because it's probably gonna be like maybe 5 teams in the college football playoffs, depending on how they look.
Obviously.
Saw Alabama drop to number 10 in the latest rankings. I think they were 9 or 10. They were right there with Notre Dame, which has been a big conversation about why is Notre Dame over Alabama when Alabama has more ranked wins and strength of schedule and things like that. But that's the scenario Alabama's put themselves in, just losing to Oklahoma. So now they, like I said, just gotta handle their business inside of Jordan Hare. Might have to put some style points on the board, but the the path is clear pretty much.
Man, it's like I can deal with Vanderbilt over Kentucky, but hoping for Tennessee to beat Florida. I mean, I know Florida has a losing record this year, but Tennessee and Gainesville. If it was in any other location, I would just kind of go, you know what? I feel confident Tennessee can make us look good. But as I tell a lot of people, don't put yourself in a position where you need somebody to win or lose for you, especially when you need your rivals to win or lose for you. And unfortunately, we have put ourselves in that position, my friends. Jeffrey, what do you think about this scenario where we have to rely where I could deal with relying on Vanderbilt winning over Kentucky, but like Tennessee beating Florida in Gainesville, I'm a little uneasy about it because they've not gotten it done since the dark ages of the internet. What do you think about hearing this, Jeffrey?
Well, it's a very complicated situation right now that, as Travion said, did not have to be complicated if we had to just beat Oklahoma. But now it is complicated because we're in a situation where do we even want to make the SEC title game? And again, I know that a lot of people are going to be, what are you talking about? Like I said, there is a chance that we beat Auburn, make the SEC title game, lose in the SEC title game, and get left out. It's not likely. I still think they would have us in the playoffs at 10-3, but there is a 100% chance that we make the college football playoff at 10-2.
Obviously.
100%. But at 10-3, it's not a 100% chance. It is a lot lower than that. So obviously, if we beat Auburn and then win the SEC title game, that's a win. And we're going to move up the rankings. We'd be like 5th or 6th. We'd probably be hosting a game in the first round. So that would be great. I'm just saying that there is always that predicament that it goes wrong for Alabama if we make the SEC title game and just say that we face Georgia, somehow. And because, A&M loses to Texas and we face Georgia, what if Georgia smacked us off the face of the earth? Obviously, I don't think that would happen because we've owned Georgia the last 10 years, but Georgia's looking a lot better than us currently right now. So there's a lot of issues right now with the situation that we're in, whether just making the SEC title game or wanting to make the SEC title game. It's very complicated. I mean, like you said, having to rely on Tennessee going to Gainesville is not a good thing because, the odds of Tennessee winning that game are 50-50 at best. I mean, Florida's bad, but Florida, when they want to be good, can show up. We saw against Georgia. We saw against Ole Miss. They can still play. And against Tennessee, they'll probably be like Auburn. Against Alabama, they're going to show up in that game. So it's not ideal.
On that.
It's not ideal at all. It's very unfortunate that we put ourselves in the situation. I still think it's very unfortunate that with these conferences being as big as they are now, that you have all these cumulative record situations. I mean, I understand it's the only thing you can do to get, the situation, uncorked, where it's like, hey, we got 4 teams with the same record. We got to figure out how to get the team that belongs in there. It is what it is with that. I don't like it because it's like, okay, to defend A&M for a minute. Texas A&M has gone undefeated. Yeah, they've played terrible teams, but that was their schedule. They lose to Texas by 1. They're suddenly eliminated now. Right? Probably for the title game. It probably is going to go to Alabama and Georgia, most likely, if Alabama and Georgia win. Is that fair to A&M? You could say yes or no, but that's just the way the rules are right now. I don't like the rules. They're not going to change. But I think the cumulative record thing it's very flawed. I know why they have it that way, because you got to do something to determine, like, hey, this team's more worthy because the teams they beat were better than what that team beat. But you can't control that. That's why you just got to win your games and get in. And I know Alabama was fine in that regard. And A&M will be too if they went out. Then whoever, whether it's Alabama or Georgia or Ole Miss or whoever will play them. But I'm just saying, like, leaving it in the hands of a cumulative record statistic is kind of dumb. I don't like that, and it sucks we put ourselves in that situation, but there's nothing we can do about that. But at the end of the day,
it's real greaseball.
Alabama just needs to win, because the best case scenario for Alabama is we beat Auburn, win the SEC title game, and we're 5th or 6th in the country, maybe even higher, maybe 4th. I don't know, 4th's pushing it, but we'll be up there, and we'll be in great shape in the playoffs. But if we beat Auburn and then lose in the title game, it's a dicey. Lose to Auburn, season's over. So the key is to win. Whatever's in front of us, we just need to win. That is the main thing.
Yeah, and I think just from the perspective of needing Kentucky, of needing Vanderbilt to beat Kentucky and Texas to beat Arkansas, I think those 2 things most likely happen. I don't really see Arkansas beating Texas or Kentucky beating Vanderbilt. Both of those teams are still competitive, even though Texas is not pretty much eliminated themselves, but still the same. But overall, I just think, like Jeffrey was saying, all Alabama has to do is win, man. That's all they got to do. That's all they got to do is win, because Texas A&M and Alabama, they have the 2 most clearest paths. Both of those teams, all they have to do is win. And then if Alabama does win the SEC title game, I believe they'll probably be around like 4th, because the conference winner they automatically get a bye week. So a lot of stuff ahead of this Alabama football team. Just hoping they can capitalize on it and not slip away from the margin room for error they got.
The issue with this right here, because Rough Rider returns to this, is the SEC and Big Ten need to have divisions. The problem with that is, now that the conferences are so big, especially the Big Ten, if you have divisions and you go back to the old way of where everyone in your division you play every year, and then you play, a couple games with teams from the other division. The Big Ten's got 18 teams, so that would be 9 per division. If you do that and you don't do the triple thing where it's 6, 6, and 6, that would just be nuts, and that would really complicate things and mess it up. But if you go 2 divisions, 9 and 9, you play the other 8 teams in your division every year, you're only going to play 1 game against a team in the opposite division every year. There will be no crossover. Basically, that's 2 different conferences at that point. You'll never play those other teams. You'll probably go 6 years without playing a team from the other division. Like if you split up the Big Ten, especially if you kept the rivalries intact, it's like Indiana, right? Like Indiana would play the 8 teams in the East part, and then Purdue, unless Purdue was moved over to the East, which they probably would because of USC, UCLA, or it won't work. If you bring back the divisions with the old format of where you play everybody in your division and then you play a team or 2 or 3 in the other, it won't work. The conferences are too big. Even the SEC, we will be playing 7 games in our division in the SEC West, and then we would only play 2 teams because we're moving to non-conference games. We'd be playing 2 teams in the other division. You would go 3 or 4 years without playing some of those teams. It would ruin rivalries. It would suck. It would not work. I think that unfortunately, because the conferences have expanded to as big as they have, divisions have to stay away. You've got to be able to have these teams go and play the other teams at least every other year. You can't go years and years and years without playing a team in the same conference that you're in. Again, that is what happens when you bloat a conference. Perfect size for a conference was 10 to 12. That's what it should have stayed at. But we've gone past that point. So, no, they do not need divisions because they're too big. They need to shrink the conferences back to recreate the divisions, but that's never going to happen either. So, I think the divisions, unfortunately, even though I wish we could have them back, they need to stay away. It just won't work.
Yep. But, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And all we got to do is win, no matter what. I forget who sung that song, which, note to self, I really need to kind of update my brain a little bit.
Win. That's all they got to do. These next 14 days are going to be very telling on this Alabama football team's future overall. But if they just win, all they got to do, win.
Got to take Auburn through the bus.
Got to take them to the bus, man. And they see, man, they're trying to do the same to Alabama. So, got to just handle business. That's easy.
We're going to get your quote on a trademark one of these days. Say, that's Travion's.
Yeah.
There you go.